Let's be honest. If you've ever felt like no matter how much effort you put in, something still isn't working, you're not imagining it. You show up, you listen, you stay consistent, and yet something invisible keeps slipping through your fingers. You don't get the response you hoped for. The connection feels weak. The attraction fades or never fully forms. And the most frustrating part is this: no one ever explains why. Men are taught that if they just try harder, say the right things, and give enough attention, everything should fall into place. But real attraction doesn't operate on effort alone. There's a quiet emotional layer beneath what women say they want, a layer that decides whether she feels drawn to you, safe with you, or slowly pulls away without knowing how to explain it. This gap between words and emotional reality is where most men lose confidence, clarity, and self-trust, not because they're broken, but because they were never taught how attraction truly works. This isn't about tricks. It's about understanding the emotional forces that shape connection. And once you see them clearly, everything starts to make sense. Here is the first truth most men are never taught. Women are not emotionally moved by what you do for them. They are moved by how they feel about themselves when they are with you. You can be reliable, you can be kind, you can be present, but if being around you makes her feel tense, uncertain, or emotionally flat, attraction slowly fades, even if she can't explain why. This is where so many men become confused. They believe consistency, effort, and availability are what create connection. But emotionally, those things only matter after something deeper is already alive. A woman doesn't fall for your behavior. She falls for the emotional experience of being with you. When she feels calm, playful, desired, and safe in your presence, something inside her opens. When she feels pressured, evaluated, or emotionally responsible for you, something inside her closes. This is why two men can treat her the same way, yet create completely different reactions. It's not what they do. It's the emotional atmosphere they create. Once you understand this, you stop trying to perform for attraction and start becoming the kind of man whose presence naturally creates it. One of the deepest emotional desires a woman carries is the desire to feel chosen, not chased. Chasing feels exciting for a moment, but being chosen feels grounding. When a man is constantly trying to win her attention, impress her, or prove his value, something subtle shifts inside her. Instead of feeling desired, she begins to feel pressured. Instead of feeling drawn in, she starts pulling back. But when a man has standards, when he has boundaries, when his life does not revolve around her reactions, she feels something very different. She feels safe, not because he is distant, but because he is anchored. A man who chooses her from a place of self-respect makes her feel valued in a way chasing never can. His attention feels intentional. His interest feels real. This is why attraction grows when a woman senses that you want her, but do not need her to feel complete. Being chosen says, I see you and I want you. Being chased says, I'm afraid to lose you. One creates desire. The other creates emotional weight, and women feel that difference instantly. Emotional leadership does not mean control. It means presence. Women are constantly reading emotional environments. Who is calm? Who is reactive? Who stays grounded when things are uncertain? When you remain steady under pressure, you communicate something powerful without saying a word. You show that you can handle yourself. And when a man can handle himself, a woman unconsciously feels safer with him. This is why emotional stability is more attractive than emotional intensity. Anyone can feel strongly, but not everyone can stay centered when emotions rise. When you don't rush to fix everything, when you don't panic in silence, when you don't chase reassurance, you create a sense of emotional gravity. She feels that you are anchored in yourself, and that allows her to relax into the connection instead of managing it. A grounded man doesn't try to dominate emotions. He allows them to move without being pulled by them. That calm presence is what builds deep trust, not words, not promises, but emotional steadiness in moments that matter. And when a woman feels that steadiness, she begins to open, not because she has to, but because she feels safe enough to. One of the most powerful things a man can offer is emotional awareness without pressure. Women don't want to be interrogated about their feelings. They don't want to be rushed to explain themselves. And they don't want to be fixed when they simply need to be felt. What they want is to be noticed. Not just her words, but her tone, her energy, her silence. When a man can sense when something has shifted and stay calm instead of demanding answers, something important happens. She feels seen without being cornered. Sometimes the strongest response is not to speak at all. It is to stay present, to stay open, to give her space without pulling away. Most men talk too much when things feel uncertain. They try to solve emotions with logic, but emotional connection lives in awareness, not explanations. When you can read the moment and respond with quiet confidence, you create emotional safety. And emotional safety is where trust grows. You don't have to understand every feeling. You only have to respect that it exists. And when you do, connection deepens naturally. Women do not want a man who hides his emotions, and they do not want a man who is overwhelmed by them. Attraction lives in the middle. When a man is emotionally closed, she feels shut out. When a man constantly unloads his fears and insecurities, she feels burdened. Neither creates desire. What women are drawn to is emotional depth with stability, a man who knows what he feels, who can speak honestly, but who is not ruled by his emotions. This balance creates a sense of maturity. It shows that you are aware of your inner world without being lost inside it. Vulnerability is attractive when it is grounded, not when it is desperate, not when it is used to seek reassurance. A man who can say, "This is something I'm working through," without needing her to fix him, feels strong. He feels safe. He feels real. This is what builds emotional trust. Not perfection, not pretending, but a steady connection to yourself. And when a woman senses that steadiness, she feels free to be open as well. That is where true intimacy begins. Attraction is not created by agreement. It is created by contrast. This doesn't mean conflict. It means having a center of your own. When a man abandons his opinions, values, or boundaries just to keep peace, something important disappears: respect. And without respect, attraction slowly fades. Women are drawn to men who can disagree calmly, who can say no without anger, who can stand in their truth without trying to control anyone else. This is not dominance, it is self-respect. When you hold your frame with quiet confidence, you create polarity. She feels that you are solid, not reactive, that you are stable, not trying to win. A man who respects himself does not need to prove his worth. He shows it through how he lives and what he tolerates. This creates a powerful emotional signal. Your presence begins to feel valuable. Your attention begins to feel meaningful. And when your attention has weight, attraction grows naturally. One of the deepest desires a woman carries is the desire to feel emotionally free with a man, free from having to manage his moods, free from walking on emotional eggshells, free from feeling responsible for how he feels about himself. When a woman senses that her reactions control your emotional state, something inside her tightens. Even if she likes you, even if she cares, attraction needs space to breathe. A man who regulates his own emotions creates that space. He doesn't become anxious when things feel uncertain. He doesn't collapse when she pulls back. He stays grounded. That grounded energy feels safe, not boring, safe in a way that allows desire to grow. When you are emotionally steady, your presence becomes light instead of heavy. Your interest feels clean instead of needy. This is what makes a woman lean in, not because she has to, but because she feels relaxed enough to want to. Emotional freedom is not distance, it is confidence without pressure. And confidence without pressure is deeply attractive. Women want to feel desired, but they do not want to feel consumed. There's a big difference between attraction and emotional dependence. Attraction feels warm and exciting. Dependence feels heavy and uncomfortable. When a man's attention is constant, urgent, and unconditional too early, tension disappears, mystery fades, and with it, desire slowly weakens. True attraction grows when a man's interest is intentional, when he chooses her, but also continues to choose his own life. A man who has purpose, friendships, and direction brings energy into the connection. He doesn't need to be entertained by her attention. He enjoys it. That difference matters. Desire feels powerful when it comes from fullness, not lack. When you like her, but you are not waiting for her to complete you. This is what creates emotional magnetism. She feels wanted, not required. And being wanted is exciting. Being required is exhausting. Women feel that distinction immediately. One of the strongest signals a man can give is the ability to walk away with calm. This doesn't mean threatening. It doesn't mean playing games. It means knowing your worth. When a man stays, no matter how he is treated, he sends a message, even if he never says it. That message is, I don't believe I have options. And that belief weakens attraction. A man who respects himself knows when something is no longer aligned. He doesn't beg. He doesn't argue. He doesn't try to force connection. He simply steps back with dignity. That quiet self-respect creates trust, because when you stay, she knows you are choosing to, not clinging. A woman feels safer with a man who can leave if needed than with a man who would tolerate anything to keep her. Presence has value only when it is not guaranteed. And when your presence has value, attraction deepens naturally. Women do not want a connection that is only calm, and they do not want one that is only intense. They want both. Emotional safety allows her to relax. Emotional spark keeps her engaged. When a man stays grounded during disagreement, something important happens. She learns that conflict does not mean loss, that emotions can move without destroying the bond. This creates deep attachment. Pulling away, sulking, or using silence as punishment breaks trust. So does exploding or becoming defensive. But when you can stay present, honest, and steady, even when things are uncomfortable, you become emotionally reliable. That reliability feels attractive because it allows her to be fully herself, without fear, without walking on eggshells. And when safety and spark exist together, attraction becomes powerful and lasting. It is not about being perfect. It is about being emotionally consistent. When she knows who you are from one moment to the next, her nervous system relaxes. And relaxed energy is where desire grows.